You know what the worst thing about D&D is?
Not coming to mind. Maybe like, wasn't there's something in between like 3.5 and 5th, but I can't. That doesn't come to mind. Like why they went to 0.5 instead of, you know.
What about you, Ben? What do you think is the worst thing about D&D?
I would probably say when people like hint that they're going to be at the session and then don't show up.
Oof.
That's annoying.
That may or may not have happened today.
Pain in the butt.
You know what I think is the worst thing about D&D?
What?
Rangers. All right, so welcome to Travelers Tips and Tales.
Yeah,
My name is Mike.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Ben.
And today we have a guest with us. Welcome, Justine.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Justine is our friend that we play D&D with and hang out with from time to time. And she's been playing a ranger in one of our games that we have not played in 8 months now? 9 months?
Yeah, the last time was probably February, very beginning of March.
Yeah, so it's been quite some time. But she plays Ranger, and we wanted to bring her in to talk about Ranger with us because Ranger sucks, and I want to know why she likes Ranger.
also, Justine is what we refer to as a smarty person. She's like intelligent.
I'm educated in pharmaceutical chemistry.
Yeah, that
or as how you like to say, as failure, I am educated in all of the things.
I know all. Yeah, Amelia likes to say I know all of the things, and that was coined by a coworker I had in my community college when I worked in the chem lab.
Yeah.
So that came from him.
I think it's safe to say that she might be actually the nerdiest nerd we've ever had on the show.
Perhaps.
That is true.
Maybe. I do like to conduct my own experiments at home, and I have my own microscope. A cheap one, but my own nonetheless.
Yeah, I was gonna say you own it nonetheless, though. That's the cool thing.
So, Justine, just to make clear to the listeners, why you deserve to be on this podcast. What is your experience with D&D?
I have been playing D&D for over 3 years. From July 17th, 2017, precisely.
Wow, knows the exact date.
Well, it was my 20th
Dude, I don't even got the date.
Well, because my friends, I was my D&D group at the time, or I had a group of friends, and they played D&D, and I was like, well, you guys are always hanging out playing D&D, and I want to hang out with you, so I want to learn, so I can hang out with you. And we organized a thing on my 20th birthday where we all got together and played. So
nice.
My first character was a tiefling rogue.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started off with rogue, and then how did you get to ranger?
How'd you go from like the best to like the worst?
Well, here's the thing, guys. When you start from rogue, it's actually not that far of a jump to ranger. You just have to be like, well, did I want to play a druid or rogue? I don't remember.
Well, reading some of the stuff about ranger and watching a few other of my friends play it, I was like, oh, it kind of seems like a rogue, but without the classic rogue capabilities, but then
like
also having the two spell slots up their sleeve. And one of the reasons why I played rogue was because I had no experience in D&D, and I didn't want to have to deal with being on the front line or spells. Then I wanted to change that, and that's why I went with ranger. And it seemed like a fun class to play because I saw some people playing it, and they were doing it pretty well. And I wanted to dabble in it, and Failure Day was the result.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we have Justine's background with D&D, which should validate her ability to be on this podcast, just the fact she plays D&D is enough for me. So
the fact that she exists is enough for me, dude. Random guy walking down the street, get out here, bro. You get on this podcast.
You ever heard about Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking to you guys about Ranger, as we've said a couple times now. So, as with all of our class episodes, we're going to go ahead and start off with the key abilities key abilities for Ranger are Dex and Wisdom. Can anybody tell me why that is?
Ooh. Pick on me, Mr.
Jacob.
Michael.
Young boy in the back.
Dex is the best. The dexterity is the best ability score in all of D&D. That's why it's important.
I'm always a fan of Dex. Anytime Dex is used, heck yeah, I'm for it.
I sense a rogue in our
Dexterity's
presence.
Rogue/monk.
I mean, Dex is important for Rangers because, like damage, and that's like the only good ability that Rangers have, so damage.
And then in later levels, it helps with stealth.
Well, yeah.
Because they gain
But
their
also,
things.
damage.
and what about the Wisdom? We covered the Dex.
Dex is way more important. Easy.
Oh, pick me.
Ben.
It's because they stole from the druid.
True, that is true. They were originally supposed to have similar spellcasting and such abilities as them in the very first editions. But they need wisdom because that wisdom is animal handling, insight, medicine, perception, and survival. In a ranger, they can be for medicine. They need that for when they're a healer, and then for the ranger, so nature and stuff, they have it for animal handling and perception. So and survival. So that's why they need wisdom.
And Wisdom is also their spellcasting modifier.
Yeah,
it is. Yes.
Yeah, I think all of the wisdom score the abilities, like the things that I can't. The
all
skills.
The mental stats.
No, the skills. That's what they're called.
Oh.
Like Justine said, all the perception and all that. I feel like all of those revolve around Ranger the most for all of the wisdom based classes. Like even every single one of them, I'm like, yeah, that would make sense for a Ranger to have. Yeah, I can see why a Ranger would have that. Whereas not all the other wisdom classes, like a cleric, I'm like, a cleric doesn't necessarily need to have perception, or
they're typically a healer,
other things or animal handling, but all of them go in hand with the Ranger. It actually makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phalia is a healer due to her background in knowing things, of sciences and such. So it helps out for her a lot as a healer.
All right.
If only she was versed in psychology.
Psychology is technically not a real STEM subject.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Phalia is in the same party as Gregor.
And Marcus.
Who are both very trauma.
They both have on different spectrums of feelings about Phalia. Although Hayden's character probably doesn't like Phalia the least of the whole party.
Well, and so it's one of those things that if Phalia was able to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it would be such a help in our party because Gregor has gotten so much trauma in his life, and Marcus has doled out so much trauma in his life.
Specifically to Gregor.
Yeah. So, and then, Hayden's character was abandoned. They tried to kill him as a baby, but they couldn't.
I mean, he tries to stay in the middle ground of the party on all dilemmas.
Yeah.
That's just Hayden, though.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right. Yes.
Hayden's the kind of guy who will be like, it was just an idea. And we're like, we're not killing children. He's like, all right, you're right.
You gotta play on both sides.
Let's go into unique features after that gold mine of a statement.
It was a mugging.
Gosh dang it.
Hayden's not actually involved in that, but it reminded me of that moment, so I had to say it. Sorry.
All right.
It was a mugging.
Justine, you have the first unique feature of the Rangers. Would you mind describing that to the listeners?
So for favorite enemy, essentially, it's you choose the category in which you pretty much excel or have an advantage, rather, in attacking that enemy. So you have, the experience of understanding how you want to know. You can hunt it better. You can track it better, and you can even communicate with it a little bit better because you've studied it more so than the other types of enemies, which include in those categories include aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elementals, fays, fiends, giants, monstrosities, oozes, plants, and the undead. Or you could select 2 races of a humanoid, such as gnolls or orcs, as your favorite enemy. Readings directly from the PHP. For Thalia, I chose for her rather beasts because she really, really doesn't like rats, and there's a reason for that. Thalia was born from so the show Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's a fantastic, amazing show.
We just got demonetized.
I know. I'm
Heard it live, folks.
I think it's great. But anyways, I'm on here one time, so whatever. But her parents are basically Charlie Kelly, aka the actor of Charlie Day, and then the waitress, aka Charlie Day's wife in real life. But her parents are Charlie Kelly and the waitress. And Charlie Kelly in the show does not like rats. That's part of Charlie's. Charlie jobs are killing rats in the basement, and what he does is he kills them with a baseball bat with nails in them. And Thalia has one of those, and it's a D4 plus 2 because of the nails. But yeah, so that's why her favorite enemy are the rats, because she. After she went to college, she went and started hanging out with her dad at the pub, and he taught her how to kill and to hate rats.
Yeah, and
Nice.
I think the way I ruled that, because I'm actually the DM for the Thalia character and her party, but I think the way I ruled that club was that the D4 is bludgeoning, but all the dex damage is piercing because of the nails.
Yep.
I think it's kind of interesting.
So, but anyways, that was why I chose the favorite enemy as beast for Thalia. I didn't care about any of the other beasts. I just cared about rats. But then with favorite enemy, you have advantage on wisdom, aka survival checks, to track your enemies, as well as advantage on intelligence checks to recall information about them. So if you recall, I've passed this environment and I could track, I could smell them. I knew the signs that these types of beasts were there.
Yeah.
When you have that feature, you can learn one language of your choice that is spoken by the favorite enemies, if they speak one at all. Rats, they do not speak, so she does not know that, but she knows what they sound like pretty well.
Yeah.
And then you can choose. Then you choose another type of favorite enemy, as well as if they required an associated language at later levels, such as 6th and 14th. And but at these higher levels, the type of beast that you choose should reflect the ones that you encounter. So I also chose beasts as the enemy because in our campaign, those are going to be more so of what we're going to encounter rather than phase or undead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ranger is really one of the biggest problems with Ranger from the start is that there's so many things that you could just make the wrong choice of, and it sucks to suck in your character creation. And so I if you are going to play a Ranger, 1, I'm sorry for you. 2, work with your DM as much as you can for any time that you take any of these levels or anything like that for these features to make sure is this gonna actually be useful for me or is it gonna suck? Because the DM's gonna know. Say you choose elementals or something because it's a part of your character for whatever reason, but then the campaign never involves elementals, so you never actually get to use your.
Exactly.
Literally an ability that you get from your class. So it kind of sucks like that. So I just recommend that you work on with your DM, like which ones you should take, which ones should just be off the line because of that entirely.
No, you're exactly right. Like, I don't want to go too far ahead, but with Natural Explorer, with the favorite terrain, I didn't really know what to choose, but I ended up choosing forest because that was one of the more common terrains that we were going to be.
Yeah, because like for the campaign that you were in, it mostly like took place in the two plains of like either like a plains and hills or like forest. Like that's it. Like there wasn't too many other settings, so it's like doesn't make sense.
Well, I like Rangers as you can view it as a beginner in D&D because they're just so simple and they can be fun and they're easy to use, but because of their features are very specific and you do, like you said, because of that, have to talk to the DM about it.
But anyways, the next feature that you get, I also recommend you working on your DM with a lot, which Justine just kind of touched on a little bit, is you get Natural Explorer. And what that does is you are particularly familiar with one type of natural environment and are adept at traveling and surviving in such regions. You get to choose one terrain, choosing from Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, and the Underdark. And whenever you make an intelligence or wisdom check related to your favorite terrain, your proficiency bonus is doubled for when you use that skill. If you're for whenever you use the skill that you're proficient in for that like area, Also, while traveling for an hour or more in this terrain, you gain the following benefits. Difficult terrain, you don't care about difficult terrain for your group travel. Your group can't be lost except by magical means, like unless someone casts some type of spell that makes you get lost. Even when you are engaged in another activity while traveling, such as foraging or navigating or tracking or anything like that, you still remain like aware of everything and you can't be surprised like that. Also, if you're traveling alone, you can move stealthily at a normal pace. When you forage, you find twice as much food as you normally would, and while tracking other creatures, you also learn their exact number, their sizes, and how long ago they passed. It's like that classic thing where like the guy kneels down, he puts his 2 fingers in the mud, gives a little sniff and a lick, and he's like, there were 37 orcs who passed here 14 hours ago. And everyone's just like, how'd you figure that out from that? Like, what? But yeah, so like definitely talk with your DM because it really sucked that you picked forest and you end up playing like a post-apocalyptic where all the forests are burnt down or something. Like you just like literally never come across the forest once, so it's like sucks to suck.
Yeah, Natural Explorer and Favorite Enemy, those are both big things that, I mean, especially towards the beginning of us starting this podcast, in the initial few episodes, we could not stress enough, always work with your DM. That is so much more true with starting out with Ranger.
Yeah, and you know what the worst part is, though? Is if you mess up picking your favorite terrain, it affects not only that ability, but every other ability you get.
Mm-hmm.
Like Primeval Awareness, the next ability you get at level 3.
Mm-hmm.
You can use your action and a ranger spell slot. You have to use both. Okay. It's like casting a whole ass spell.
Yeah.
You gain awareness on the region around you for 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend. So I believe for rangers that's up to 5th, so up to 5 minutes. Not that great. You can sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile of you, or up to 6 miles of you if you are within your favorite terrain. But it does not, and those creatures are aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. But here's the thing about that. It doesn't reveal the creature's location or number.
Oof.
So you can be like, hey, there's a fae in this forest, and everyone look at you and be like, okay, where is it? I don't know.
Within 1 mile, or if you're really good with forests, 6 miles.
Actually, that might be even worse. Be honest. Because then it's like even bigger search area that you have to deal with. It's like, that would actually no. I take that back. You don't want to pick that your favorite terrain if you're trying to look for something specific in a terrain.
Yeah,
that's dumb.
That's dumb. Kind of like biting itself in the butt.
What if the object is flying, or it's not trying to find it in the dirt somewhere? But what if it's like oh, there's something that's flying around, and I need to keep track of it, and so you can see like, oh, after a mile, I'm useless. I don't know where it went, because flying things are likely to go more than a mile sometimes. Versus if it's 6 miles, then at least you can track it, and then you can track it for a day at a time. Because it's maybe a day ahead of you.
Yeah, but even then, you still can't determine the direction that it's in. And I think that's one of the biggest issues. Like, Ranger, some of the abilities sound really cool, but put into practice, not so much.
Or they, like, totally contradict each other. It's like, yikes.
Yeah, well, that's why it's not, as you guys say, the best. That's one. But as far as, if you're just there to have fun and you want to have all different types of things and you want to dabble in everything. Like for me, like I said before, I want to dabble in spellcasting and different abilities that are different from the rogue. Then it's fun. It can be fun if you're just not super serious about it.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. So,
yeah. But, oh shoot, just dropped my phone on my computer.
Good job.
All right. So the next unique ability that Rangers have comes at 8th level along with your ability score improvement. It's called Land's Stride. So moving through non-magical difficult terrain costs you no extra movement. You can also pass through non-magical plants without being slowed by them, and without taking damage from them if they have thorns, spines, or any other hazard. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against plants that are magically created or manipulated to impede movement, such as those created by the Entangle spell. I mean, yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, you don't get slowed down by difficult terrain, and if somebody casts Entangle on you, you're basically less affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
I do appreciate that they saw that it's not that good of an ability, so they gave it to you along with your ASI.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I mean, it is cool that you do get it on a level that you would already get something. Like, it's dope that it's not just like that was the only thing that you got.
Yeah.
Because it's really rare for them to actually give you an ability along with your ability score.
Yeah, it only happens for a couple classes.
Yeah, and it only happens like a couple, like every now and then, and in those already rare occasions of it happening in the class.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, this ability has its uses. Like, if you're going up against a whole circle of druids, and they decide to all use plant growth and create tons of difficult terrain, you're not slowed down, you can go kill them. But...
But also, like, if you're in, like, a swamp or anything like that, I know a lot of DMs rule that, like, in a swamp, basically everywhere that isn't, like, the road passing through it is pretty much difficult terrain or water. So, it's also neat.
Yeah, so, I mean, it has its situations, but that's exactly what it is. It's a situational thing to me.
Yeah. Understandable.
I'm not gonna lie, though, that same ability to, like, pass through non-magical terrain and stuff, that's something that land druids also get, but it's part of their subclass, and that is actually the reason I don't like land druid, is because they get that ability. It's not worth it, in my opinion. I think ranger would be completely unaffected if they didn't have it, in most cases.
Yeah, I agree.
With rangers, that it's assumed you're going to be, you're going to be involved with nature a lot, and so of your party, there's a bard and a rogue and a cleric. They're not typically involved with nature, whereas the ranger can be, if in case that happens, and especially if you're the healer, it's super helpful.
Yeah, I suppose you can. If you do need to get somewhere, you can get there.
Yeah, like I said, it has its uses. It just seems a little too situational for me.
It's just kind of...
Well, that's the whole ranger class itself.
Yeah, ranger's full of situational things. Anyways, what's the next unique feature?
What a wonderful question, Michael. It would be hiding in plain sight, and it starts at the 10th level. Per the PhD, for hiding in plain sight, you can spend 1 minute creating camouflage for yourself. You must have access to fresh mud, dirt, plants, soot, and other naturally occurring materials in order to create the camouflage. Now, once you are camouflaged, you can try to hide yourself by pressing up against a solid surface, such as a tree or a wall. And it has to be at least as tall and as wide as you are. So if you are a rather tall and plump person, then you will not do well. So if you're a bard or a giant, you'll have a hard time with this.
You can't hide behind the tree that's thinner than you.
Exactly. It'll be like hiding behind a lamppost.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works against you to be dummy thick.
Yep. You do not want to accumulate mass for this class. And then that was a reference to studying Philadelphia, in case for you uncultured swine. Anyways, you gain a +10 bonus to dexterity, specifically your stealth checks, as long as you remain there without moving or taking actions. Once you move or take an action or a reaction, you must camouflage yourself again to gain this benefit. And that's why Ranger can kind of be a rogue, is because you have to be at a higher level, granted, but you can hide from people. And it can be helpful. But because when you're a ranger, you're proficient with your bows, or with your bow and arrows, you really don't want them to see where it came from. So if you fire your bow and then you don't really want them to see you for your next attack, you can camouflage yourself.
Yeah. I actually really do like this ability. I think it's pretty neat because it's a thing that basically no other class gets. Where it's just like you get to be PETA from the Hunger Games, and you just make yourself look like dirt, and you can just chill there, and no one will know.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
I love it.
You just naturally have pass without trace.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a minute to do it, but and
you have to be perfectly still.
You're just caking yourself in like mud and grass and other stuff.
Yeah.
Lily would have a hard time with it though, depending on the situations, because she could not. She would have to really struggle to stay still. Because it's like, oh, there's a bug or shiny rock. She has such shiny rocks. So.
She does try and find shiny rocks. Every time we go, traveling for a certain distance, I roll, a D8, and I tell her how many shiny rocks she finds on the way.
That was how I got the 7 shiny rocks. Because, you see something shiny, and I went and found it, and it was rocks. And then I have one...
It was a rock.
I found a cool-shaped rock as well.
But yeah, moving on to 14th level is the next time you get a thing, and it's the ability Vanish. I actually really like this one, because it reminds me of my sweet, sweet home class of Rogue. And at starting at 14th level, you can use the hide action as a bonus action on your turn. Heck yeah! Also, you can't be tracked by non-magical means, and unless you choose to leave a trail. So they can only follow you if you want to be followed. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of funny, because, the way I picture it is it's only if you choose to leave a trail. So you're just instead of walking, you're stomping. I feel like it really looks very comedic if you were to choose to leave the trail.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not necessarily. It's if you wanted to try to, because some people are good at trying to find animals, and
yeah.
Rangers are a serious class, okay?
I just think it'd look funny.
Oh, that's the best joke I've heard all year.
Yeah.
My whole D&D career.
And this whole year has been a joke.
Well, what's one more for you?
All right, so Feral Senses, Ben.
Yes, Feral Senses. This one actually kind of reminds me of Rogue a little bit. Specifically the Rogue's ability to never have anyone sneak up on them without them knowing. Because at Feral Senses, you gain additional senses that help you fight creatures you can't see. When you attack a creature you can't see, your inability to see it doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls against it. You're also aware of the location of any invisible creature within 30 feet of you, provided the creature isn't hidden from you and you aren't blinded or deafened.
Dude. Get wrecked, noob. it's like it kind of is like, it reminds you of Rogue because it's kind of like an ability that Rogue has, but also screw any other Rogue.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing that I don't like about that ability. It's the whole, you are aware of the location of any invisible creature within 30 feet of you, provided the creature isn't hidden from you. Like, what?
Well, because if you're not underneath rocks or you're hidden under dirt or the mud or whatever, then you're not hidden. But if it's within 30 feet of you, kind of like, oh, if I put my hand out, I can sense it's there, I can smell it's there, versus it's trying to hide its scent or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, to me, with that being an 18th level ability, the way that should read is you are aware of the location of any creature within 30 feet of you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's a level 18 ability. Like, it should be good. You've worked hard to get to 18th level. You should be getting good stuff.
In fact, you worked so hard, you've outrogued the rogue.
Oh, man. Alright. The final unique feature that you get as a ranger is called Foe Slayer, and you get this at 20th level. You become an unparalleled hunter of your enemies. Once on each of your turns, you can add your wisdom modifier to the attack roll or the damage roll of an attack you make against one of your favorite enemies. You can choose to use this feature before or after the roll, but before any of the effects of the roll are applied.
So basically, Phelan could become a Super Saiyan against rats.
Once per turn, yeah. Or
so
whatever, yeah.
Here's the interesting thing to me, because it reads specifically, but before any effects of the roll are applied, which means you can use it after you know whether your attack hits or misses.
Yep.
I don't know, because I feel like that is the effect of the roll being applied.
See, but typically, this is the only time I've ever seen it not specifically say
specifically.
Yeah. Because it 99% of the time, this being the 1%, it'll read as you must do this before you know the result of the roll.
Here's why I think it doesn't say that, is because of the damage part. Because normally it's only for like attacks, like to hits. And so the damage, they have to say it is when it is applied, because you don't know if a damage hits or not. You already do, right? So it's when it gets applied. So whether once the DM says yes that hits or no that hits, or you tell the DM he takes this much damage or that, whatever.
Okay, I could see that.
That's why I think it's still within that wheelhouse.
I could see that.
Yeah.
All right. So, now we get to the subclasses of this really bad class called Ranger.
It's not bad, it's just not the best.
You're right,
not
it's
bad,
the worst.
It's just not good. It's that simple.
It's not the worst.
All right. All right.
Anyways.
So the first subclass is Beastmaster. The Beastmaster opens up with a huge paragraph that's like 6 paragraphs long. I know that didn't make sense, but it did to me. So I'm just going to basically tell you the gist of it. You get a beast companion.
Okay.
It does things.
Okay. But the thing too is that beast has to be of a certain capacity. You are given restrictions on it as far as the challenge rating and then intelligence and stuff. But I wouldn't recommend taking it. But like the other things we were talking about, it's very specific towards your campaign, and sometimes it can be a little bit useless. It's really cool. I was super excited hearing about, you could have a companion with you, like a bear cub or tiger. But it's not. There are so many more useful things you can do with your ranger than have a fuzzy animal next to you. I
mean, yeah. So what she's referencing is there's CR, or a challenge rating limit, as well as a size limit. You can't have anything larger than a medium beast, and it has to be of CR 1/4 or lower. My favorite option for this is the Panther, because Panthers are dope, and you can't convince me otherwise. You add your own proficiency bonus to some of the things that it has, such as like AC, attack rolls, damage rolls, and saving throws. But there's a lot of stuff to it that would honestly be more beneficial for you guys to read on your own about it. I don't want to have to get into too much detail on it. At 7th level, you get exceptional training. So whenever your beast companion does not attack, you can use a bonus action to command the beast to take dash, disengage, or help action. And the beast attacks now count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. So your beast just got a buff.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. At 11th level, you get Bestial Fury. When you command your beast companion to take the attack action, the beast can make 2 attacks, or it can take the multi-attack action if it has that action. So yeah, if your beast that you chose has multi-attack, before 11th level, it's not allowed to use it. It has to use a single attack.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's a little bit harder of a thing to utilize and take advantage of, because it's just
You know what would completely fix this subclass? Literally just a stipulation in there that's like, if you do something kind enough, or if you train an animal that you meet in the wild enough, you can have that as a companion.
You could swap out.
Because you could do away with the size and the CR restraints. According to that, you can't even have like a mount as your beast companion.
Yeah.
No.
You can't even have like a horse.
No.
But yet you have the ability to, you're proficient in animal handling, and you're a little bit better at talking to them than the other classes. So it's kind of, like you guys were saying earlier, it contradicts itself, as the class does. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think, so when I played the one ranger that I've played, I was a Beastmaster. My Panther died, and Ben was the DM, and I mean, he did exactly that for me to be able to have a new beast. He let me tame a hellhound.
Ooh.
Given I had to put in a lot of work and get a very lucky die roll, but hellhound is certainly above the CR.
I think Ben literally said on a 20 you get to
I had to get a nat 20 on the fate die.
Yeah.
Which, for you listeners, is essentially a very specific die that Ben has.
Yep.
But yeah.
And so the last thing you get as a Beastmaster, you get it at 15th level. It's called Share Spells. Whenever you cast a spell that targets yourself, you can also affect your Beast Companion with the spell as long as it is within 30 feet of you. So you can basically heal yourself and your Beast. That's a good use for it.
Yeah, I think the big problem is just that your Beast that you gets buffed, but not nearly enough.
Yeah.
For it to be your entire subclass.
Yeah, it doesn't level up with you, so you can't take higher CRs as you level up.
Yeah, and so it's just like, eventually, like, it's good to start, I guess, but then later levels, you're just like, yeah, this thing's got, like,
I know, it's not like in Pokemon where you...
like 30 hit points, like...
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, it's a little bit... It's pretty much a useless thing, because
maybe if like every
time
you leveled up, it gains like a hit die of some sort, so like it also gets to roll for hit points or something. I don't know, but like,
yeah, I'll tell you what, man. If you're playing in a campaign that's level 1 to 5, do it.
Yeah,
you know what? Ranger is good.
I'm not saying Ranger's good. I'm saying if you're set on playing a Ranger, and you want to play in a campaign as a Beastmaster, make sure it's a campaign that only goes up to like level 5.
It's like a shorter one.
Because then you get your 2 attacks, and then the Beastmaster has an attack. So you have 3 attacks per turn, essentially.
Yeah. But,
after that, it's just all downhill.
Yeah. But, anyways.
Theoretically, you could break the Beastmaster as like a subclass if you were willing to pay enough money to buy enough Mastiffs.
Just have an army.
Yeah. And just train them all as your companions all at the same time.
But then you had a whole pack of them. Then for your attacks, you'd be like, I have this army of things. So go Dasher, go Dancer, go Vic, go Prancer, go Common and Cupid, and then you label them off. That'd be funny, right?
Here's the thing: imagine you have this army of Mastiffs, and you have a Druid in your party. And whatever reason, the big bad that you're facing is targeting specifically your Druid. Your Druid just wild shapes into a Mastiff and blends in.
There's an imposter.
You buy 8 identical Mastiffs. Anyways, when we had to inevitably make a Ranger episode, I know it bummed us all out, but we're here.
We'll fix it later. We'll fix it later.
I decided that I wanted to pick the one subclass that reminded me most of Rogue to make me feel a little bit happier. So I picked Gloomstalker to talk about.
To stop the depression.
Wow.
Gloomstalker gets spells, actually. When you first take the subclass, you get like spells that you kind of like always have, as if like you were from your domain, from your cleric or whatever. But you always have Disguise Self, and whenever you hit 5th level, you get Rope Trick, and whenever you hit 9th level, you get Fear, and 13th, you get Greater Invisibility, and 17th, you get Seeming. Which is pretty neat. That you just kind of like always have these in like your back pocket to throw out. But, you know, it's kind of neat. And also, at 3rd level, you get Dread Ambusher, and you master the art of the ambush, and you can give yourself a bonus to your initiative equal to your wisdom modifier. And also, at the start of your first turn of each combat, your walking speed increases by 10 feet, which lasts until the end of your turn. If you take the attack action on that turn, you can make 1 additional weapon attack, which is pretty dope, I'm not going to lie. And if that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d8 damage of the weapon's damage type. Pretty sick, if you ask me. Also, at 3rd level, you get Umbral Sight. At 3rd level, you gain Dark Vision out to a range of 60 feet, and if you already had Dark Vision from your race, it increases by 30 feet to 90 feet total. Unless you're a drop. You are also adept of evading creatures that rely on Dark Vision. While in darkness, you are invisible to any creature that relies on Dark Vision to see you in that darkness. So, screw you, everyone that has Dark Vision. You still can't see me. You might be able to see the, like, coffee table and not stub your toe, but you won't see me. And I'm gonna shoot you. And get an extra d8 damage die. Heck yeah. Also, starting at 7th level, you get the ability called Iron Mind. And you have honed your ability to resist the mind-altering powers of your prey. You gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws, and if you already have that proficiency, you instead gain proficiency in either Intelligence or Charisma. Which I think you do have Wisdom, right? As a ranger.
I believe
as
so.
As a ranger,
yeah.
you're proficient. Yeah, you have Wisdom.
Yeah, I don't know why it says that then. That's really.
You have your keyboard.
It's really weird why it's like you get proficiency in Wisdom, and if you already do, which we know you do because you took the ranger class.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
The editor did not do a good job on
that. Yeah. Come on, wizards. What's going on, man? But anyways, starting at 11th level, you get the ability called Stalker's Flurry. And you learn to attack with such unexpected speed that you can turn a miss into another strike. Once on each of your turns, when you miss with a weapon attack, you can make another weapon attack as part of the same action. Which is pretty neat. So, if you miss, you might just get a try again, you know? And starting at 15th level, you get Shadowy Dodge. And you can dodge in unforeseen ways with wisps of supernatural shadow around you. Whenever a creature makes a attack roll against you and doesn't have advantage on the roll, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on it. You must use this feature before you know the outcome of the attack roll, though. So you got to do it before you know if they hit or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's pretty neat. I think Gloomstalker's okay. It sucks that it's on the Ranger subclass, but you know.
You know what? I have had just about enough out of you.
Like, is this all you guys brought me here for?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I was your.
But Ranger isn't.
I don't think Justine understands how long we've been waiting to bag on Ranger a bunch for this episode.
What's funny is I'm the only girl that's consistently in your guys' campaign. And I chose
we got another one too.
Yeah, should be talking about Warlock.
Yeah, in a couple episodes.
Yeah, and to all you listeners, if you like Ranger, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you made that choice in life.
Yes.
We're not gonna lie.
It would explain Ranger would explain a lot of the depression I have.
Oof. Hey guys.
Yeah.
What's the most little used thing in all of Dungeons and Dragons?
The percentile dice.
I would argue no.
That depends, because some DMs, they like, instead of using the D20, they'll prefer their players to do the percentiles.
I'm gonna go with the nature skill. I feel like I'm never rolling for nature.
Frickin' portals, my guy.
Oh, okay.
Depends on the campaign.
You roll up, all right, and you're just like, hey, is that a portal? And the guy's like, no, it's a teleportation circle. Can it be a portal? No. Why not? No, I don't want to deal with it. No portals. Well, if you end up having one of those rare exception DMs that does use portals, Horizon Walker might be for you. Where to even begin with Horizon Walker?
So what's the first word?
You get, first word is Horizon, second word is Walkers.
Well, that's where you began, so it checks out.
So you get additional spells that you know, like Protection from Evil and Good, Misty Step, Haste, Banishment, Teleportation Circle. Pretty good spells. Yeah. You also get the ability to sense the presence of a planar portal. As an action, you detect distance and direction to the closest planar portal within 1 mile of you. But once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. In other words, you have to take a nap between each use. And if it's not within 1 mile, you don't have the ability to take it back. You just have to go take a nap before you can do it again. You also get, at 3rd level, Planar Warrior. You learn to draw on the energy of the multiverse to augment your attacks. As a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The next time you hit that creature on this turn with a weapon attack, all damage dealt by the attack becomes force damage, and the creature takes an extra 1d8 force damage from the attack, and when you reach 11th level in this class, the extra damage increases to 2d8. I don't really get that one. It's like, you shot him, yes, but then your arrow disappears?
It must have to do with a very specific campaign.
I feel like you're just shooting him with like
let's
solidified air or something.
This subclass is from Xanathar's Guide.
Yeah.
It means they added this because they thought it would make them better. But okay, whatever. At 7th level, you get Ethereal Step. You learn to step through the ethereal plane. As a bonus action, you can cast the Etherealness spell with this feature without expending a spell slot. But the spell ends at the end of the current turn, which basically makes it useless. You get to go into the ethereal plane
for a couple of seconds.
It's once per short or long rest. So you got to take a nap between each use as well.
I feel like a lot of these could be made better if they were just based off of your wisdom. You could do them your wisdom score, your wisdom modifier times per
I totally agree with that. That would make so much more sense. But it's not. At 11th level, you get Distant Strike. You gain the ability to pass between the planes in the blink of an eye. When you take the attack action, you can teleport up to 10 feet before each attack to an unoccupied space you can see. This one's actually pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
If you attack at least 2 different creatures with the action, you can make 1 additional attack with it against a 3rd creature. This one reminds me of what Russ was talking about with fighters having teleportation magic, where they just they cleave and they just and take out like everybody. That reminds me of that. So once you hit 11th level, it's starting to get a little bit better.
You guys have found a real use for that.
There's a silver lining, guys.
There's a silver lining.
Hit 11th level.
You have to play for like months and months and months,
but once you do that, you get to attack 3 different people in 1 turn. Wow. And then at 15th level, you get Spectral Defense. Your ability to move between planes enables you to slip through the planar boundaries to lessen the harm done to you during battle. When you take damage from an attack, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to all of that attack's damage on this turn. I will say, that ability is not limited to a number of times per day.
Ooh, okay.
That's pretty neat.
So is Horizon Walker just the good ranger?
Well,
you're not until 11.
Horizon Walker is good when you hit level 11.
Yeah.
For that,
I didn't even think about that though. With Distant Strike, the 11th level ability, it actually goes in time with when fighters get 3 attacks and when cantrips level up to 3 times the damage. I didn't even realize that until just now.
Yeah, but here's the thing I have an issue with about Horizon Walker. Most DMs that do use planar portals, I've used them before. I've had combat in portal areas before.
I think we've had one that I can remember.
I've used them like 3 or 4 times in my entire time at DMing. They're useful, but there have to be a pretty good reason to have them there. Otherwise, you risk your party going off on some adventure on some plane that you had not prepared, and that there is no point to them being on.
Yeah, I've done a campaign where we did we were in a different plane, and it worked out it was fine. But yeah, the DM had a plan to be there because there were so many unexpected turns.
So yeah, that's the thing. So most of the time though, when you do those kind of things, because of the nature of the planes and the nature of portals and things that come out of them and guard them, generally that's a pretty high level game. Right? My only issue with this is you're level 3 when you get the ability to detect these portals. And if you're the type of DM that plans way ahead and you have these things set up for late game, and the ranger just comes along and is like, hey, let's go do that thing, and you're like, oh no. No. And you're not trying to TPK your party, you might just let them in, but then what do you do now? They're just there. Right? And if your players are kind of thick-headed, like players can be, and you throw something really massive at them that's like, don't fight this or you'll die, they still might fight it. Or they might be like, oh, we have to sneak around it. That's what the DM wants. That's what he wants us to do. Like, no, we want you to leave. Go away.
Man, you could just say that you're talking about us. It's okay.
I wasn't even talking about y'all. I'm talking about someone else entirely.
I still think we do that.
My point stands.
Yeah.
Why on earth did they give you this ability to detect portals so early on, and then hold off on the good abilities until later? It just doesn't make sense to me.
It has to be a very niche campaign like that. It has to be, because it's a very niche ability. The whole class, honestly. Or not the whole class.
The whole class is all one very niche class, and I think that's part of the issue. Like, if you look at fighter, it's just like you hit stuff. Does it matter what kind of thing it is? No, you just hit it. You hit it hard. You hit it many, many times. It's like,
cool. The thing with ranger is that they want them to be, so it's like, oh, I'm generally good at this, but then if you're a ranger and you are talking to your DM and they say you're going to be in this and this type of environment, then you can say, oh, cool, I can base my character on this and have advantage upon advantage upon advantage with abilities in order to combat those environments and enemies. So therefore, you can be a great player.
Yeah, but
campaign.
then the moment that the area they leave, the party leaves, and the moment the DM's plan gets thrown off or anything like that happens, the ranger becomes suddenly useless.
Yeah,
and it's like, man.
Well, the plus side of that, the fallback on that is the ranger is not usually in the front line. It's they're in the back firing the arrows and trying to not be near the front line because they're not a tank. So there's that. That's why they're given the ranged weapons.
Yeah.
So that's your fallback on that.
Yeah, it's so oddly specific. I have issues like trying to see this being used.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is just that with the ranger class they hone in too much. Make it
they're almost too specific. Like in like 3.5, right? Everything starts out generalized, and then as you go up, you take certain feats and you become specialized. Right?
Yeah.
Same with Pathfinder 2. But in 5th edition, everyone's generalized for everything, except the ranger. The ranger is so oddly specific, and it's like, man, I wish I could specialize you as I go, but I have to pick it all at the beginning, and that's where the issue comes in my opinion.
Yeah. But anyways, moving on.
They were initially as a subclass of fighter way back in the day, back in 1975 and 1978. Where they would do woodcraft and tracking and scouting, and infiltration and spying, and that was what they were good at, and that's what they did, and there was nothing really specific about that. So it's evolved, definitely.
Yeah, but then I mean, Druid also used to be a subclass of cleric.
Yeah.
Back in 3rd edition, 3.5 edition, and now Rangers over here stealing stuff from Druid. Like, no, just get your own thing, man. Branch out.
Moving on. Subclass.
Moving on to my favorite, the Hunter. Woo-woo! Okay.
It's your favorite? We're in trouble.
I like the Hunter because, I don't know, I think it has a lot of good benefits that are easily applicable to almost any campaign. It's probably one of the more general ones. It's not very niche at all. Well, depending, I guess, on the ones that you choose part of the Hunter subclass. But it can be very generalized and very helpful.
Ranger? Generalized and helpful? I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay, so what was the if I recall, didn't Thalia get the final headshot in the killing that guy? As I recall, she was very helpful in that. Very helpful with her arrows and her multi-attacks. So,
Anyway,
per the handbook, emulating the hunter archetype. Oh wait, no, I don't care about that. So you get specialized techniques such as Hunter's Prey, where at 3rd level you gain one of the following features of your choice, and that includes either Colossus Slayer, Giant Killer, or Horde Breaker. I typically choose Horde Breaker, where once on each of your turns, when you make a weapon attack, you can make another attack with the same weapon against a different creature that is within 5 feet of the original target within range of your weapon. I like this one because you get an extra attack without having to use up a slot, so it's just automatically another attack. And it's
you get 3 attacks.
Yeah. So you have your 2 attacks, and then you have like 2.5 attacks essentially.
Yeah.
And then for Colossus Slayer, it says your tenacity can wear down the most potent foes. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the creature takes an extra D8 damage if it's below its hit point max. You can deal this extra damage only once per turn. I mean, yeah, it can be pretty helpful for this one. And then there's Giant Killer, When a larger creature within 5 feet of you hits or misses you with an attack, you can use your reaction to attack that creature immediately after its attack, provided you can see it. Now, fun fact, this was evolved from when Ranger was very first invented or in D&D back in 1975. And the whole big thing about being a Ranger was you automatically were able to get an advantage on your added on to your damage die. So it's interesting to see it in the 5th edition where it's like you can choose to have this ability. But unless you're in Storm Giants, then it's
Storm
not.
Thunder. Yeah.
Or that one. Yeah, that one. Then it's not too useful. It's like the rest of the things with Ranger, it's very niche. At level 7, you gain one of the following features of your choice. You get to escape the horde, multi-attack. You get a multi-attack defense, or steal will. With escape the horde, it is an opportunity attack against you are made with a disadvantage. So, if you want to leave someone's space, they will get a disadvantage on that.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be surrounded by people, it's pretty good because unlike the rogue where you can disengage, you can't do that for a ranger. So this helps with that. I typically choose the multi-attack defense. When a creature hits you with an attack, you gain a +4 bonus to your AC against all subsequent attacks made by the creature for the rest of the turn. And then Steel Will, you have advantage on saving throws against being frightened. This has to do with the ranger always having. You can't really sneak up and surprise a ranger, and so this is basically that was always a guaranteed thing in the original ranger class or subclass, but so it's evolved into being just this ability you can have it for a defense tactic. I typically do the multi-attack defense because sometimes your armor class, if they're getting attacked by things, I don't know, I just find it helpful.
I think it's the least situational too.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next ability you get is at the 11th level, where you gain one of the following features. So again, Ranger is very case specific, so you get lots of choices of things to choose from. There's volley, whirlwind attack. Oh no, that's 2. I'm reading it wrong. Yeah, volley and whirlwind attack. For volley, you can use your action to make a ranged attack against any number of creatures within 10 feet of a point you can see within your weapon's range. And then you must have the ammunition for each target, though, as normal, and you must make a separate attack roll for each target. And the reason why it has to specify the ammunition for it is, one, because you can attack however many things are in 10 feet within you, but typically if you're a ranger and you have this ability, you're probably going to use your arrows. And if you don't have enough arrows, then you can't attack. So being part of a ranger, you must always keep track of your arrows. So that way you're able to do your multi-attacks and then your multi-attacks within your multi-attacks.
Yeah.
And then whirlwind attack, you can use your action to make a melee attack against any number of creatures within 5 feet of you with a separate attack roll for each of them. As a ranger, you're typically ranged, so sometimes having a melee attack isn't the best for you because you're a ranged attacker. You don't really want that unless you're deciding that as a fallback, and someone comes near you, then you're good at fighting with melee stuff. Because you can be proficient with the melee things as a ranger. It's just a matter of, is that really what you want to do with it? You do have the option of not interacting with them, so why would you choose to do that, especially when you're not a tank? So this is just a whirlwind attack is just in case you somehow come into contact with people.
Yeah.
Superior Hunter's Defense. At 15th level, you gain one of the following features: evasion, stand against the tide, or uncanny dodge. Jake.
Yeah.
Evasion, when you are subjected to an effect, such as a red dragon's fiery breath or a lightning bolt spell, that allows you to make a dex saving throw to take only half that damage. But instead, you take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, and only half if you fail. It's again niche. Well, it's not niche, but because it's not specifically a fire breath or lightning bolt, but it is certain types of spells where it works, and it does help. But sometimes, if you're a ranger, you're not far, or you are far from the attacker, and most of the time, your party members are gonna, if they're tanks and stuff, they're gonna be the ones taking the damage. And if you're a healer, you're not really trying to fight off the enemy. You're just trying to defend yourself and then help your party. So, for Stand Against the Tide, when a hostile creature misses you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to force that creature to repeat the same attack against another creature other than itself of your choice. This is kind of iffy because if they, at higher levels, most of the time they're really not going to do melee attacks, they're going to do the spell attacks, and they kind of have to get close to you sometimes for the melee attack. This is another fallback in case you do make contact with the enemies and they're near you. And so you can use your reaction to control that person to do it, but it's your choice. It can be handy. It's a matter of situation. That's going to happen a lot. You have to kind of think with that. And there's Uncanny Dodge, which, as you know from the Rogue, when an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use this reaction to have that attack against you. That was always my favorite thing to shout as a Rogue.
Yeah.
But then it always be the wrong time.
I do think it's funny that Ranger is so bad that they just took abilities from Rogue and then they made them for Ranger, but you only get to pick one of them, and they're like twice as high in the level. You get them way later than this is a thing the Rogue's been doing for months.
I know, huh? It's like if you work really hard at being a ranger, if you suffer enough, you will eventually be rewarded. It's kind of like a magic harp, where it's like eventually you'll become a nice Gyarados. Yeah. Eventually you'll have a nice, tough, able to fight and fend for themselves ranger. But they're not supposed to be in the front line, so they're not really supposed to be super great. But it is what you can make of it.
I do like that there's for the hunter subclass, you do kind of get to pick what your ranger is. Like it kind of adds some fighter to your ranger, where you get to kind of mold them how you want to, kind of. Yeah. You know what I mean? You pick the abilities out of a couple of them. Just kind
they first started off as a subclass of the fighter in the very, very beginning, so I mean it makes sense. But yeah. it's just their part, they're druid, paladin, fighter, rogue. It's just that's kind of what makes it fun. And when a spellcaster, that's why I liked it, because you can dabble in a little bit of everything with the ranger. And as a newbie, technically speaking, it kind of helped expose me to that, and that's why. Sometimes I've been trying to do cleric now as well, because it's like, oh, now that I've done ranger however many times, I think I've done the spell casting pretty well. I think I can branch off to something different, and that's why I like ranger, because it helps you with other classes. Nice. As useless as it is, it helps prep you for other things.
It's a lead-in class.
It's the gateway class.
All right, is that it for Hunter?
Yeah, I just want to say that I think it's a fantastic subclass. It's very useful because it's not, if you do it right, it's not specific at all, and you do get some pretty great abilities. So that Hunter as a subclass is my suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hunter does seem to be probably the best option. The final option that you have, at least as of right now, because I know they're probably going to be releasing more options soon. But the current option is Monster Slayer. You get some spells. At 3rd level, you get Protection from Evil and Good. At 5th level, you get Zone of Truth. At 9th level, you get Magic Circle. At 13th level, you get Banishment. And at 17th level, you get Hold Monster. At 3rd level, you also get 2 abilities. The first one being Hunter's Sense. You gain the ability to peer at a creature and magically discern how best to hurt it. As an action, choose one creature you can see within 60 feet of you. You immediately learn whether the creature has any damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, and what they are. If the creature is hidden from divination magic, you sense that it has no damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, a minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. That is very helpful when you're going up against a creature you know nothing about, which as a character will be often, as a player, probably not as often.
But it gives excuse for metagaming.
Yes. It's like, I'm going to use my hunter's sense.
Now my character does know the resistant.
Mm-hmm. And the other 3rd level ability that you get is called Slayer's Prey. You can focus your ire on one foe, increasing the harm you inflict on it. As a bonus action, you designate one creature you can see within 60 feet of you as the target of this feature. The first time each turn that you hit that target with a weapon attack, it takes an extra 1d6 of damage from the weapon. The benefit lasts until you finish a short or long rest, and it ends early if you designate a different creature. I've seen this in use many times, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that with a solid spell choice, and you'll be set.
It's true.
Me and Justine have both seen it in action.
It was with Dustin, right?
Yeah, Dustin used that tactic.
Mm-hmm. It's quite nice.
Yeah. At 7th level, you get an ability called Supernatural Defense. You gain an extra resilience against your prey's assaults on your mind and body. Whenever the target of your Slayer's Prey forces you to make a saving throw, and whenever you make an ability check to escape that target's grapple, you add a d6 to your roll. So basically, when you use your Slayer's Prey, anything that your target does to you is less likely to work.
Yeah.
As long as it's not just a flat-out attack, because that'll work just as well. At 11th level, you get Magic User's Nemesis. You gain the ability to thwart someone else's magic. When you see a creature casting a spell or teleporting within 60 feet of you, you can use your reaction to try to magically foil it. The creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or its spell or teleport fails and is wasted. And you can use this once per rest. Short or long, does not matter.
Dude, this subclass comes with Counterspell.
Yeah.
But not really Counterspell.
It
Counterspell that can't be Counterspelled.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's a built-in counterspell.
It's amazing.
And then the final thing that you get at 15th level is called Slayer's Counter. You gain the ability to counterattack when your prey tries to sabotage you. If the target of your Slayer's Prey forces you to make a saving throw, you can use your reaction to make one weapon attack against the quarry. You make this attack immediately before making the saving throw. If your attack hits, your save automatically succeeds in addition to the attack's normal effects.
Yep.
Sounds kind of similar to a certain magical item that I know of.
Yeah.
A magical item that is not one that we have designed. It is not one that is in the books, but it is one that one of our characters uses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good old boxing gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the 5 subclasses. All of those are PHB and Xanathars, so you only need 2 books if you want access to all of them in book form.
Yep.
So now we move on to roleplay. Jake, how do you like to roleplay for
I say
Ranger?
go crazy, guys. Take a dip. This is literally what I have written in the notes for this session. Take a dip into your wild side. Go absolutely feral. Be untamable. Because I wanted to make a lot of
Lots
beast
of puns.
puns, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go all like not hippie, but nature based. Be a druid that likes hurting people a lot with
From a distance.
bow.
From a distance.
Be a less cool druid.
Be a less
I don't know.
cool- be a mixture of a druid, rogue, and fighter that didn't really turn out as good as you thought it would.
All right, Ben, what about you? How do you roleplay a ranger?
Scrag. That's my ranger. His name is Scrag. I only played him in one-shots, and he's also the only character I've ever had that's ever died. And he died because of my own stupidity.
Nice.
Yeah, my proudest moment with him is when I shot a hand axe out of the air with my bow.
I wish I could say only one of my characters have died.
You could at one point,
That's true.
and it was a ranger.
That's very true. Justine, what about you? What do you think about role-playing rangers?
I think it's fantastic. I think they're super fun. I think the hook for them is you don't like being in the front line, but you want a decent HP, be a ranger. Because it's true. It's for a rogue, you're not on the front line because you have a D6 for your hit die,
D8 for rogue, yeah.
and it's a D8 for rogue, and then a D10 for a ranger.
Yeah,
and
the few with D10.
Exactly, and then you are fantastic. You have a great job with the bow, and you can attack multiple people. And I don't know. I think it's a great class. It's, like I said, the gateway one because you have an ability from every class, and I just think it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it, but not if you're trying to have. Ophelia is a very superficial character. She doesn't matter how much. She's not very. There's not much to her. Besides, she went to college, and then her mom got mad. The waitress got mad that she decided to go hang out with her dad and his friends at the bar. So, that's her story. And then she became like her father, and then became an adventurer. So that's it. There's nothing significant with her. There's no reason for her to have any specific ability. So it works out great for her.
She's just a person. She's just
a human.
Yeah.
And she is funny. She's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my thought for being in the position of role-playing a ranger, it comes with a little story, but first I just want to tell you how to role-play a ranger my way. You don't. You're playing the worst class, so you kill yourself, and you make a new character, because that's exactly what I did. So I told you guys about how my ranger was able to tame a hellhound, and this happened shortly after that. This happened very next session, pretty much
Literally
beginning of the session.
Us walking back to town from that place.
It was us walking out of town.
Oh, was it? Oh.
Yeah, because one of our friends, Dalton, who did the plot twist episode with us, he had just joined the campaign, and he was just kind of annoying me at the table. He was like, I roll to walk this way. I roll to walk this way. I roll to see if I know where that is. And
I roll to breathe.
It was just super, super annoying to me. And just as a joke, I was like, I roll to kill myself.
Oh my god.
I rolled a natural 20. So Ben, being the DM, looks at me and goes, Or do you really want to do it? I was like, listen, man, I said what I was rolling for. I rolled for it. I rolled a natural 20. You decide what happens here. So in the middle of us walking, I put my bow, like the string of my bow on the ground with an arrow knocked in it, pulled up, and then put my head right over the head of the arrow, and then released my foot from the bowstring. And then as I was speaking my final words and my dying breaths, I told my hellhound to torch my body and run. So it did.
Yeah.
Wow, Michael, that's so inspirational.
What a hurrah.
Yeah. Rule number 1, don't play Ranger.
But Bailey is a wonderful character. Everyone loves her.
Because I totally did that purely because I was a Ranger and not because of other things.
Justine, we're not bagging on failure. Everyone here likes failure. We just don't like Ranger.
But she's such a great Ranger. She is so useful and helpful.
She does a pretty good job, yeah.
Yeah, see?
All right. Well, now that the roleplay section is over, let's go and join Ben in the low-level magical item corner.
Welcome, adventurers.
At first, I didn't think you were doing a guitar riff. I thought you were going to do like a store like bell next to the door.
Ding.
Yeah. And then it turned into a guitar riff, and I went, oh, okay.
Welcome, adventurers, to my low-level magic item shop. I've got a couple things you might love. First of all, for the man who shot himself. You know what would have made that go much better? Some +1 ammunition.
Definitely. I wouldn't have had any final words.
Exactly. You know what? Just cut that off real quick. Make your bow shoot real good. You know, it's all good. It's my first item on the list.
I like
Second item. If you want to shoot throwing axes out of the air just like Scrag did, you need bracers of archery. They give you +2 bonus to hit with your archery.
I 100% forgot that Scrag was the one that did that.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was my character that threw the hand axe.
Yeah, and Hayden was exasperated, and he was like, if you roll a nat 20 right now, you can do it. And I was like, get it.
Oh, man.
Got it. If you want to take a dip into your wild side, go absolutely feral, live out in the woods for who knows how long, you need a cloak of elven kind. Gives you advantage on stealth, and with the hood up, it camouflages you.
Oh, dude, thanks, GameStop employee.
No problem.
So basically, you're rendering one of the unique features that they get completely useless.
I saw, yeah, dude.
I like it.
Also, for the lovely lady, I got something special for you.
What's that?
I got this fancy dagger. You might love it.
No way.
Check this out. Check this out. Take this dagger right here. Go ahead, take it.
Ooh. Oh my goodness.
What do you feel like you should name it?
Is this the Rezer? Is this it?
Yo, that's a glowing dagger now.
No way.
Yeah, I have like 20 of them in the back.
For the listeners, Rezer is a specific item in Princes of the Apocalypse, which is the game that Phalia's in, and they found this dagger, and it is Phalia's.
And it's a very nice dagger. And
it is a very nice dagger.
It's her favorite weapon. Next, right before it, well, her club with the nails in it was her favorite weapon until she got Rezer.
And then she got Rezer, yeah.
Yeah, all you do is say Rezer, and it turns on and off like a light switch.
Yeah, it glows for 10 feet, I think.
But that's her favorite thing, and she will repeatedly say, when there's nothing going on, she'll just say Rezer, 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 in like different accents, different ways, and just sort of have it turn on and off.
Yeah,
it's also a +1 dagger, though. So
yeah.
And like, I will always and forever, whenever I see Rezer or hear about Rezer, I will always think of Failure Day.
Yeah.
And Phalia is such a team player that when you guys were what was it? You guys were, there was the statue that would move and get super sneaky, and you guys needed to see something, and then one of the only light sources we had was Rezer, and she was very like, are you sure you're not gonna lose it, right? You're not gonna. This is my prized possession in life. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then Michael's character.
It was her shiniest rock.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was
Also,
insane.
I just want to talk real quick about one thing that I don't think gets shined enough in D&D, and that is the pureness of just a friendship between two characters.
Yeah.
Like Gregor had with Phalia Day. They were the only two humans in their party. So automatically they're friendly to each other because they're like, oh, thank God, normal people.
More humans, thank God.
That's exactly what we needed. More humans.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember there was even a part where the entire party, like we were trying to infiltrate this monastery with a bunch of cultists, and there were gargoyles, like, in the garden, like, guarding it, and we had skipped a level up. Like, we had a level up waiting as soon as we got back to camp, but we refused to go back to camp. Yeah, we just didn't
go
do
back.
it. And by the time Jacob was like, you get a level up when you get back to camp, we were like, it's too late, we're already this far in.
I was like, you guys, why didn't you just go back? You said you wanted a recon, and now you're going in the place. What the heck?
Yeah, but at one point, everyone in the party except Gregor and Phalia had already made it out. And I was like, Gregor's gonna do, like, his military thing. He's gonna lay here perfectly still, like, as long as he can get away with it. And he's gonna move, like, an inch, like, a minute over the wall. And and in the process, like, Phalia stayed behind and stayed with Gregor, and I was like, crap. Now there's...
She was so confused. Like, why would you stay behind? Like, why would you not move? I don't understand. You need to go.
Yeah. So I think eventually Gregor ended up making a distraction to get Phalia out of there first.
Yeah.
Which, if anyone knows Gregor, that is the least Gregor thing to ever do. And the only person that could bring that out was Phalia.
If there is possibly someone who is more of a conspiracy theorist and more cautious than Cade, it would be Gregor Samsa.
Dude, Gregor's so, like, paranoid that, like, we won a battle and took over a tower, and Gregor was the only person to think we should set up a watch in case they come back. Everyone else is like, we just won, we're gonna go check out our new rooms, we're gonna check out our new stuff. And Gregor's
everyone was like, loot.
Yeah.
And Ben was just like, I will wait at the door.
Yeah, he waited at the stables for the hippogriffs.
Yeah.
Because that was the only way.
The Phalia Gregor friendship is with that paranoia is he knows Phalia is like I said before, she's not a very deep character, she's very superficial. What you see is what you get, and he knows that, and he trusts her, and she actually calms him because she'll just talk and talk and talk. In fact, that was a torture method for one of our guys who captured her.
Yeah. So, Phalia's talking very much disturbs the sound of mind and, like, eases the disturbed.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same kind of talking and logic and stuff as that of the characters on Sunny in Philadelphia, where it's absolute nonsense and it's completely wrong, and she's just oblivious to all these things, and she says it with a straight face and in like a normal voice. There's no, it's whatever, and she's also very annoying and hyper, much similar to her creator. So
yeah, it's very much one of those classic like extrovert and introvert friendships where like...
I even remember like one scene. I remember one time when we were trying to like figure out what was going on in like this port town. Gregor got this idea and he pulled Phalia into like an alley, and he was like looking at her and he was like, "Give me your clothes." And she was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, give me your clothes. I have a plan." He was like, "Swap clothes with me." And she was like, I want to roll insight to see if he's just trying to get a look at me. And I was like, "You can do that. I mean, sure, I guess." And I think she rolled like She rolled high, and I was like, yeah, no, he's just had an idea. he's married, actually.
Well, I was just very confused as to why someone would do that. You pull me into an alley. Like, I worked at a bar. I know what it's like. Or failure
Would
worked at a
you
bar.
rather swap clothes in the middle of the street? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, you know what happens at the bar.
But yeah, it was just one of those things that's like super funny, and like to this day, I think Gregor's only real friend was like Thalia. And the second closest thing he could call a friend, unfortunately, was Applewalk.
Which is the wall of no emotion.
Bailey just calls him Apple. She's like, all right, Apple Watch, what you got planned?
So, Apple, if you would like to sponsor us.
We'll name a character after you. Matter of fact, we'll name a whole campaign after you.
All right. Well, I believe it is time that we start closing out and getting into our social media.
Yeah. So if any of the listeners didn't know, we do have a YouTube channel. It is called Travelers Tips and Tales. We also have an Instagram, which is called Travelers Tips and Tales. We also have a Facebook page, which is called, get this, Travelers Tips and Tales. We also have a Twitter, which is called @TipsTales. Ooh, we got you. We got you. We tricked you. You didn't see it coming, now did you? We also got a Tumblr page, which is called Travelers Tips and Tales. We also have a Patreon. See, we tricked them again. We went back to the norm. See,
Yeah.
see, they didn't expect it. Now they were expecting something crazy, and then they didn't get it. You know. We also got a Patreon, which is Travelers Tips and Tales, and on our Patreon you can get a whole bunch of cool benefits, like getting to talk to us and some homebrew items and exclusive content just for the Patreon boys because they're cool peeps. And also, we have an email. If you guys would like to email us any questions or anything about D&D related or whatever, we will do our best to answer at travelerstipsandtales@gmail.com. And yeah, we also have a patron that is a high enough tier to get shouted out, and that is Ben's mom.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ben's mom.
Yeah.
for supporting
Way to
us
go.
at the $50 level.
Yeah.
Also, if
Which
you want to access some other homebrew stuff, go to our website,
Yeah, we give you a little sneak peek.
travelerstipsandtales.com.
Oh, I was going to guess that. You stole it right from my mouth.
Hey guys, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What?
Do you think we might have too much social media?
Yes.
Probably.
I don't know, boomers will say we do, but high schoolers will say we don't.
Yeah, I mean, real talk with you guys, you know, the listeners. If you want to contact us on social media, go to our Instagram.
Or email. I mean,
I'm
we respond to
hardly
it right away.
I'm hardly on our Facebook page. Twitter, we're almost non-existent. Tumblr, we're pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
We have them because we wanted to have them.
Yeah, your only
Yeah.
chance of talking to anyone on Tumblr is me, because it was my idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll repost some cool stuff.
Yeah. But anyways, that's where you can find us on all of the interwebs.
Yeah. So, we hope you enjoyed, and we thank Justine for coming on here and talking to us about Rangers and dealing with us talking mad crap about Rangers.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I'll just keep coming back to you guys' campaign anyways. Because you guys are
We love Thalia. We love Thalia. We just wish she was a different class. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, hear me out. Maybe just switch her to Ranger Revised.
Ooh, there we go.
Which
there
we
go.
will cover in a
Ooh.
later episode.
Ooh. Yeah. And you guys can hear about one of our characters, which is a Ranger Revised.
Yeah. All right. Well, signing off. This is Mike. We've never done this outro before.
Jake's here too.
Until next time, have a great day.
Bye.
Ben's gone.
Bye.